Hello, everyone, and welcome to East Coast Hour and a very special presentation where I'm here with a couple of what I call iconic Richmond County musicians. People have known them here, at least Richmond County, and beyond, actually, for many, many years in their own individual careers. Joining me is Cornelia Sutherland and Robert Bouchard. Welcome to the show. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
So we're here actually because this is a very special week for the two of you. You're being recognized by Richmond County. The municipality of Richmond has recognized this week as Cornelia and Robert Week. And there's a number of different events and festivities that have been going on. You've been taking part in some of it, and there's still more to come at this point. But the county recognized this as a special week for the two of you. And how does it feel, kind of, that acknowledgement and that recognition from your own community?
It's an incredible honor, that's for sure, and one that I never thought I would ever get. That's for sure too.
No.
What about for you?
Well, no, much the same as what she said. We never thought we'd ever get it. Not that we ever thought about getting it.
No,
It's,
no, that's true. No,
Yeah,
that-
it's
not
just
something-
one of those things that just blossomed.
What? You're gonna do what?
Yeah, yeah. And to be honest, we weren't really overly enthused about it at the beginning.
Right.
Because we kind of felt it was undeserving, right?
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, we know we did a lot of stuff, but so did a lot of other people do a lot of stuff. But I appreciate the thought that went in this.
Well, it's
Sure.
actually, I guess, maybe stemmed from the Almadam Historical Society.
Yeah.
And a permanent display that's going to be on there, recognizing your accomplishment and your achievements individually in your music career. So that has already taken place. They've launched the permanent display. And,
Absolutely.
I hear it was
incredible.
a resounding success, and it looks beautiful.
It was hard
Yeah,
to see the
turned out-
little things go out the door, like in Calgary, when my this, my that, and I used to have a corner in the house that I
Yeah.
just had all my stuff.
Yeah, we
And
all
it's
have our
like-
little shrines.
Yeah, that's right. I've definitely figured this is the only one I'd ever have.
Yeah.
So now I have a picture of the stuff that was there. But
Yes.
when I saw this, I still can't believe it. I can't. I just only hope that Billy could have seen it.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's very
sees
humbling.
it. Oh, is it ever?
I mean,
Yeah.
it's something, because we do what we do, and it's what turned out to be our lives,
Yeah.
and
And we love it. You did it because you love it. We
Oh,
were the
yeah.
ones lucky to have a job that you love.
sure as hell didn't
Yeah.
do it for the money.
No, that's for sure. That's for sure.
But I mean, I heard it said, and I know you've heard it said too, that, if you're going to get into the music business, don't get into it thinking you're going to make a whole lot of money.
No,
Your motive is very wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right, exactly.
Yeah.
And so, Cornelia, going back to you and your musical career, kind of, when did that start for you?
I started playing piano when I was 4 years old, and we always played at home. My sister and I and my dad. Dad was a drummer in a band, and we always played. Anytime anybody walked in the door, we played. But when I was in high school, I did the folk festivals were a big thing. Folk Arts Festival in Port Hawkesbury, and Margaret Ellis was in charge of that, and you were to compose a song, and I composed a French song, and I won. And then I represented Port Hawkesbury and Halifax, and then I went on to PEI, and then I went on to Ottawa, and that was my start. Yeah.
And the variety shows? And
Oh yeah. If it wasn't for the variety shows, we wouldn't. No.
Yeah.
That and singing in your back porch, your backyard, or your back whatever.
Yeah.
So your career, and Robert, we'll get to yours in just a moment. But
Yeah,
your
sure.
career involved you getting together with Billy. So it was
Yeah,
Cornelia
Billy,
and Billy. It
Billy
wasn't
and I.
just Cornelia.
Well, it was at the beginning when I started. It was just me when I started working in Alberta. I'd be a month in Banff, a month in Calgary, Edmonton, and Jasper, and then I'd come back home. And then in '73, Billy and I got married, and before we got married, I did go to Germany by myself for 1 year, working with the Canadian government. And when Billy and I got married, he hated his job. He worked at the mill, and he just hated it. Everybody thought we were absolutely crazy. What do you mean you're going to away? You're going to on the road? And our first gig was Africa. So let's really do it well. 3 months in Africa. Trip
Wow.
of a lifetime.
That must have been something. No?
It was. It was.
And
Learned a
your,
lot.
Maybe your mother wasn't overly impressed.
Oh my
with
God.
the
You know,
touring.
no. Or my grandmother was when I was going to Germany. Oh my God, you're never going to come back. They're going to murder you. You can't go to Germany. You know?
And what about in your work, either individually or with Billy? You produced some recordings.
Yeah, we did some albums, and I was at Nova Scotia Teachers College. I won the North American and Canadian Music Championship, which was the one thing, you know, that did get me going. But being a hometown girl, I had a chance to go under management in Toronto, and I just didn't want to go. I wanted to go home. Home. I remember saying that I want to go home because they really scared me. Oh, you'll have to do this and you'll have to do that. You'll have to tour and you may never go home for a year. And it's just, what? Yeah, that was for me. That was a big decision, which I always wonder what would have happened if I'd have taken that road. Yeah.
Well, I mean, as it was, I mean, you had a decent career.
Yeah. We traveled a lot. We did a lot of all over Canada. We'd leave Nova Scotia beginning of the year and go right straight through the Northwest Territories, stopping in every little place to play if you could, and then go to Germany every February, because I remember we used to celebrate Billy's birthday in Germany every year. For 15 years, went to Germany and then snowballed. Really? Yeah, 15
I didn't know that.
years.
I didn't know that.
We always get people say, "Don't you speak any German?" No, nine. Because we always, you know how you always think, "Oh, this is not going to happen again. They won't ask me back next year, right? So why bother?" And then, "Oh, they're not going to ask me back again," and they did. You know, it was wonderful because then we went to South America and we went to Japan and went to China and. Yeah, it was pretty nice stuff.
So when did you stop touring?
Oh, when John Willie was 5 years old, I guess, when we started school, 85, 80, yeah. Because otherwise he was, we'd bring him to schools on the road. We'd come in, go one place for 2 weeks, we'd go and say, you know, can he come to school for 2 weeks? Or it was kind of neat. He'd go in a little suitcase. For 2 weeks. Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Now, Robert, what about you? How did it kind of all start for you?
Well, it started for me in school, and they used to ask me to sing at these music festivals. And I hated it. I hated being coaxed and pushed into these things. And back then it was, you're going to sing. They'll ask you once, and if you refuse, didn't matter. You're going to sing. That's it. So, but after I got away from that, I think the big deal for me was the variety concerts in Pépé Café Hall. That was big stuff back then.
Yeah,
you know,
I guess
the big
so.
Green curtain opened and Eddie Wood would start playing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and Lloyd and Jerry and Rudolph. And I even remember Fulbert. Fulbert would too. What a singer he was! Wow, beautiful voice.
With sax.
Yeah, he was a crooner. He was a crooner, very smooth and a gentleman. Kind of like Tony Bennett.
Yeah. Oh,
that
yeah.
kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, those shows were really important. I mean, I was only 14, 15 then, and we did a lot of them then. Almost once a month they had, you know, concerts there, and I can still remember people lined up on the sides after all the seats were taken. People lining up on both sides.
I remember being there myself.
Yeah.
Maybe later on, but I remember being there.
Yeah.
And so you did some touring, you did some recording as well.
Yeah.
Kind of when did you start, or I guess what was that turn for you that, you know, said, I'm going to attempt to make a career out of this?
Well, you know, I never thought of it like during the Pépé Café Hall days because there was too much excitement to look that much forward. And when you're 15, 16 years old, you don't look ahead. It's today. I joined after I got out of the forces, I came home and I even sang when I was in the forces. I met a couple of non-commissioned officers that played instruments, And I got together with them every once in a while. They found out that I could sing. I found out they could play. And that's how it went. And when I got out of the forces, I came back home and I went to work for Bedford Institute of Oceanography. And I went down the British West Indies, Trinidad, Barbados, St. Lucia, Venezuela, all those places. Then I came home and we sang, of course, yes, on the helicopter deck of the sail on the CSS Hudson. And that job didn't last very long, by the way, because when I got back to Halifax, they said, "See you later." Bye. In short, I was fired.
Right. Okay.
Having too much fun. That's what it was. We didn't, we didn't disturb the normal function of things. But at 3 o'clock in the morning, when the captain says go to bed and you're still singing and drinking beer, something is going to happen.
Your liability then.
Yeah. So, but when I came back home, I started singing regularly, and it just kind of opened up from that point. And then I went out with Roger Murray and Lloyd Burnell. We started touring as a trio. We were called Robert Bouchard and the Country Strings.
Okay.
And the rest of it just went together by itself.
Right.
So, it's been a hell of an experience. What a ride.
What about your recordings?
My recording, well, I got to say something first. A little while ago, you mentioned something about management. Somebody had offered to manage you.
Yeah.
And you probably, back in your mind, rejected that for the same reason as me. You don't want nobody running your life.
No.
You want to make your own decisions in life. And if, like, I could have got a recorder, I got a, what they call a discovery deal when I was in Nashville. And as that turned out, was a friend of mine said, if you ever get a deal in this town, bring it to me. The guy's name was Paul Hayes. Him and I were very good friends. And I brought him this contract that I had, and he said, throw that in the garbage.
Yeah.
He said, that is no good for you. It's good for someone else. It's no good for you.
So you're so glad to get anything,
Yeah,
it's like that
the
in
excitement.
your career. It's like, great, this is going to be
You think
great.
enough of me to offer me a deal?
Exactly, yeah.
And you want to take it.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm glad to this day, as you are, that we stayed our own bosses.
Yeah.
We worked when we wanted to. We went where we wanted to. And it's always kept us much happier than you're going here, you're going there. You have to sing this, you have to sing that. Yeah. So, pretty much that's it in a nutshell for me. Although I had a friend, you remember Conrad Boucher? We used to call him Pépé Boucher.
Pépé, yeah.
Him and I started out singing Kingston Trio songs.
Okay.
Oh my God, they were good too. Eh?
Yeah, we used to love that stuff. And anyways, that was just shortly before I joined the Air Force. Okay. And when I came home on leave one time, he said, "You ruined everything." Yeah, we could have been a big deal. Yeah, you can't go too far singing everybody else's songs,
Yeah.
Well, so that leads me back to your recording. So you did a bit of songwriting yourself.
Yeah.
And putting some of those to albums. So when did you start recording?
Started recording 1 year after I got out of the armed forces. Who worked down in Nashville, and he worked also in California. And he was home at the time, and Freeman introduced me to Scotty. And Scotty said, I heard you sing. And I said, yes. So he said, would you mind singing something? So I sang, and he was quite impressed. Maybe. So he said, would you like to do a recording? I said, I'd love to. And so we got together at the radio station with myself, Joe Way. Can't remember the piano player's name. Might have been Johnny O'Coin, but I'm not sure. He was a great piano player, by the way. And there was one other person there. Barney Peters was there. And three of us, just vocally and a couple of guitars, we laid all the tracks. And Scotty said, now I got to take this back when I go back home to the States. And he said, I'm going to get the musicians and fill this in. So, I said, how long is it going to be before I can hear what it sounds like? He said, it's going to take about a year. I said, God, that long? Well, he said, a lot to be done. He said, I got to do the countryside in Nashville and the Irish side in California. because at the time he worked for Liberty Records, and they had affiliates in both states. So he said, it's not every day that I can't schedule my trips. I go when I'm called. But anyways, almost to the week, it was a year later, and I remember I got a box of, I think it was 50 copies, and before the day was over, they were all gone. I mean, it was a big deal. An Arichat boy with a recording, it was something. And of course, I was all excited, and but it just snowballed from there.
And then eventually, I mean, your recording that I'm most familiar with, your album is "She's My Lady."
Yes, that was my.
What year did that come about?
That was my second one. That came about. We did that in Ottawa, Giselle and I, and we had all Ottawa musicians. There was one guitar player was from Montreal, and it was as or more exciting than the first one, because it was a better production and everybody was where they were supposed to be at that given time. So there was no, we have to send this here and send it there. But that one there did quite well. We sold a lot with that, and the title song I wrote on that. And I believe there was the other song too about Roger Murray. I sang a song. I wrote a song called "I've Tried It Before and I'll Try It Again."
Yes. Okay.
And there's a lady in West Arichat. She still requests that song from me every once in a while. And of course, I haven't sang it in 40 years, so I wouldn't remember. But then from there, I went to back to Nashville to do the songs of Audie Murphy, which the producer of my first record, Scotty Turner, wrote with the most decorated soldier in World War II, who was Audie Murphy. And that was a really good experience for me to watch how the musicians work and the Nashville number system and all that. So you learn as you go, And it was exciting for me, and the production came out quite well on the album. And we took the album back home with us, and we distributed as many as we could, and it did quite well. We didn't hit no million sellers by any stretch, but it was a little bit more than the beginning. So, I mean, it made the wheels turn, And we toured, and as a matter of fact, one of the songs on that album, "When the Wind Blows" in Chicago, that song was played right across Canada for 6 or 7 weeks. And I even got a call from a DJ in Vancouver. Weird Harold Wendell was his name.
Wow.
I always remember that because it's a weird
yeah,
name.
Yeah, I guess
And I
so.
always remembered it, Weird Harold Wendell. And he called me one time telling me how much he loved that song. And my brother-in-law in Toronto, he was half French and half German. And he said, he called me up one day. He was a contractor, and he'd go house to house. And of course, people always had radios on, blah, blah. And he called me up one day and he said, "I heard that GD song 4 times today. I wish they'd stop." And then he'd laugh. He'd say, "No, I loved it. I loved it." So, that song gave me a lot of exposure. And that's when we started touring.
Well, and so for both of you, really, your work, your accomplishments, all the touring, the experiences you've had, has brought you some recognition as well. Cornelia, you and Billy recognized with the ECMA, the Stop the Tom Award back in 2010, was it?
Yeah.
2010? How did that feel for you?
Well, that was great. I mean, I have Dolores to thank for that. Dolores Boudreau put a lot of work into making that happen, because that just doesn't happen. Somebody's got to bring out the initiative, find all the material, sell it to the people who think that you might be worthy of it, and it's a lot of work.
It's like management.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, So I really and Dolores is also the big catalyst for this week. It was her idea. I mean, wow! It's one thing to have an idea, but to make it come to life.
Yeah.
Both of you having a friend who's kind of willing to put those things.
Exactly. It takes. I don't know if I would do that for anybody. Really, I know, but it's a lot of work.
It is, yeah.
Holy
And
Toledo!
then, Robert, you've been recognized by the Nova Scotia Country Music Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Being recognized and inducted into that.
2014.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
time flies so quickly.
Yeah, whatever.
It's always, when I've talked to different artists, it's about, the awards and recognitions they get, but it's almost like a validation for your work. It's everyone says it's, it's nice to be nominated, nice to win an award, but it's really about feeling validated by your peers.
Yeah, it makes you look back and say, wow, I accomplished something without knowing I was accomplishing something.
Yeah.
Because we just went out and made a living. That's
Never
what we
would
did.
set out to try to do this.
No.
That would be silly.
No, that's the last thing you think about.
Yeah,
We do music because you love music.
Yeah.
Whatever comes out of it, it's all gravy.
Yeah.
So you have a big week here already. You've done the opening of the Almaden Historical Society, the permanent display there. You just came today back from a luncheon that was held in your honor.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Oh, just
beautiful.
Couldn't have asked for anything better. It was.
Thank you again, La Picasse.
Yeah, so well done, and they decorated the halls, and they had entertainment, and the food was great.
They put a big effort into
They
that.
did. Yeah, they really did.
And performance at the Richmond Villa.
Yeah.
That happened already?
Yes,
Yeah.
that happened
How was
already.
that?
It was good. And I got to see
Did you
Sam.
both go?
Yeah, we both went, and we did St. Anne's too
And we
the day
did St.
before.
Anne's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Both done.
Yeah.
And you said seeing Sam.
Sam, that's the cat, the Villa cat. And he was my mom's cat. He lived with Mom for probably 3 years. Well, I don't know, when he just took to her. When she moved in, he moved into her room. So it was quite emotional to see the cat.
Oh,
that's cool.
Going back to the Richmond Villa.
Yeah.
Both your parents have
Yeah.
been there.
Yeah.
So is that kind of why you wanted to give back? to
Yeah,
the Villa?
definitely. Yeah, definitely.
And St. Anne's, it's always nice to get into St. Anne's.
Yeah, well, we do it every 4 or 5 weeks, Nick and I.
So we know all these people there, right? They're our friends.
Yeah, yeah. And going back to the villa, I had an uncle who was at the villa for a number of years too, Joseph Bouchard, my father's brother.
We missed Wally though at the villa.
Yeah,
I was
that's right.
waiting to see Wally.
If we'd have seen Wally, he'd have been dancing with somebody.
I know. Yeah, that's why.
Everybody wanted to dance with Wally.
Oh, yeah.
So you still have another show that's coming up.
That's a big one.
In the Scoops.
Yeah, that's a big one.
28th.
You talk about unrehearsed and spontaneous?
Yeah.
You're going to see it.
Live.
Oh, yeah.
It is going to be live. Yep.
So
Hopefully he's on the plane tonight.
that is an event that's going on. People can pick up tickets at the Historical Society.
Yes,
Or at Shamrock Store.
Yes.
And I think with the Historical Society, they can e-transfer them as well. So there's a poster floating around. So just check out the School Civic Improvement Hall. You can find it there and how to go about getting your tickets. I want to thank, before we wrap things up, I want to thank Lisa Boudreau and the Goélette Pépé, where we're filming at today. Beautiful location to be able to do that. Coffee shop, gas station.
Great coffee.
It is.
Great coffee.
It
It is.
time to reach
Yeah.
drink a lot of
Very
it so
good.
far, but it is absolutely great. So thank you to Lisa for allowing us to film here. Anything else you kind of want to contribute to?
All the interviews I've done and talked about, I never mentioned. I had a manager, Len Andrea, who was really did a lot for me.
Yeah.
He was a lawyer in Port Hawkesbury. He's long passed since, but he tried really hard to push me in directions and take advantage of every kind of exposure there could be, so he did a lot for me.
Yeah, there's people,
that went the extra mile.
Looking
Like
back,
what?
my friend in the States, Eddie Murray.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's the same thing. Eddie was like Len.
He's a dual citizen,
Yeah.
Canadian and American. And he always admired our music, and he played a lot of it. And every summer he'd come down and he'd promote me and ask me, why didn't you do this? And he was a school principal, actually, in Saugus, Massachusetts. And his hands were kind of tied, but he wanted to get his claws into managing.
Yeah. Same thing as Len.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, he was mainly responsible for me getting on the Hunter Show.
Was he?
He did that from Boston.
Wow.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, he was a man.
If I hadn't won the Des Moines Search for Stars, I probably wouldn't have been able to get on the Tommy Hunter Show. And one thing about the Tommy Hunter Show, they told you what to wear, what songs to sing, how to look, and how fast to go.
Yeah.
It's like having a manager.
Oh, yeah. You got to run on.
Yeah.
You can't do this. You can't do that. It's got to be a fast song. Because I wanted to play piano. because that's my thing, piano. You know.
You did the concert section, same as I did.
Yeah, the run-on spot. Yeah,
Well,
but they
we were
wouldn't.
3-minute fill space is
Yes,
what we were.
yeah, exactly.
You're on the show.
All the rest were from the States or big names, right?
Yeah, and he
we
talked
were
to all them. He wouldn't talk to
Yeah,
us.
no, the run-on people. That's okay. We were able to use it for promo, so that was the main thing.
I know because when I did Chicago on that show, and when the band got into that, I didn't think I'd have enough wind to keep up with it. I mean, it was supersonic speed.
I know. Playing the harmonica.
And I was trying to get out there before I was ready, and the guy was holding me. The guy was holding the back of my pants. Like, whoa, not now, not now. No, he says, go. And I took off on the stage, and I just made it to the microphone. The first line was ready to go.
Well, we've never talked about that. I never knew that. It was just, and it's so true.
Yeah.
Like, boy, oh boy, we were.
Yeah.
So still to this day, Robert, you're still doing some shows locally?
Yeah, not many nowadays.
Not
many. I work when I want to now.
Yes.
And that's the beauty of, again, not having a manager and all
Yeah,
this stuff.
exactly.
You don't go where you're told. You go where you want.
Yeah. And I'm singing in Calgary, yeah. I'm doing Nifty 50 clubs, 60s plus, 70s and over.
Yeah,
and I love it because I only go maybe 3-4 times a month and just do, because I couldn't do it every day. I just couldn't.
No. When we were young and foolish, you could go day and night.
Remember 6 nights a week for a year. Yeah. You know, it makes me happy. That's when I'm happiest, when I'm playing. You don't forget that. It's in you. It's just in you.
Oh, definitely. It's second nature.
Yeah.
So this has been Cornelia and Robert. They've joined today because of the celebrations that are going on this week in Richmond County. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us. Yeah, definitely.
You didn't know, we tried to record this before. We had a technical issue. So this is actually take 2.
And we may see take 3. We're not sure.
We'll find out after this. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. Thanks.
An enjoyable week, and hopefully everything goes well for you. And John Willie makes it here.
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Bye, everybody. Thank you.